Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for, my friend.
We'll get into a little bit of everything. We'll get into Lane Kiffin stuff. We'll get into some NFL news. Plus, it's Waiver Wednesday, so we'll help you hopefully get into your postseason in your fantasy football. Plus, we'll have our buddy Jim Gillis from KRRJ Collectables joining us at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. And then after we talked to Kyle Mask yesterday, we're going to talk to his opponent over at 559 Fights, Francisco Hurtado, joining us at 8:30. We got all of that and much, much more. You can join in anytime at 661-842-2000.
And it is a jam-packed show in terms of football news. We got a lot going on in the NCAA with coaching news right now. I guess Lane Kiffin news, like Sparky said, but more Charlie Weiss news or Weiss news. I apologize.
Weiss.
I'm confused. Let's just start here because the entire idea that I got from why Ole Miss told Lane Kiffin to kick rocks, you're not going to be coaching the college football playoff, and get us to the closest thing to a national championship that we've gotten to since Kennedy was the president. But you're allowing the offensive coordinator to come back from LSU. He just got on a plane to Baton Rouge, pledged his allegiance to Lane Kiffin and the Tigers. And you're going to let him come back and coach? I'm confused, Sparky. I mean, are you just as confused as I about this? I mean, if you're so worried about Lane pulling players away, who's to say Charlie's not going to? Let's be honest.
I mean, there was another story. The LSU standout that was set to sign with the Tigers is now pulling out. He's like, hey, I'm going to hold off and see what kind of everything falls into place. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the Ole Miss players are going to be jumping ship, and we've got some drama between these two teams. And even Greg Kerr mentioned when I was going to do Money Wise yesterday, he was mentioning that a part of that contract that he got, that if Ole Miss wins playoff games, he gets a cut.
I was going to get to that too, because I have audio from Lane during his press conference where he again highlights how he doesn't make any decision because of money, but then goes and says that he made a decision based on money. Like, again, may have not been money for you, but it was definitely money in general. In fact, let's just play the audio right now. We might as well. This is Lane Kiffin in his inaugural press conference with LSU.
I said through the process, okay, I'm never going to make a decision on money. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what my contract is here. That's not very financially responsible, okay? I'm sure it's really good, okay? I don't know what it is, nor did I know at the other places what the numbers were. Because I said in the beginning, I told Jimmy Sexton, don't tell me the numbers, okay? I want to make a decision that has nothing to do with money for me. Now, tell me the numbers in the plan for what the money is for the players, because that's everything in that area to me, okay? Not what I make, what they make, to understand how can you build this. And if you're going to make a change and you're going to move and all these people are going to move and you're going to do all this and go through all that, which was a very challenging, obviously, last 48 hours, in a lot of ways sucked. It's the only way I can describe it. It sucked for a lot of people.
But not you.
No. And again, this was said well before I think that they had even announced what his contract was going to be. We now know it's, I believe, 7 years, $91 million. Nobody believes he's actually going to be there in 7 years, but let's be frank, it's going to get paid out regardless. At this point right now, though, he's saying, I don't care about the money. The money's not a big thing to me. But tell me about the money for the kids. How much am I going to be able to use to spend on the kids? And here's why he's asking that question. Because he is about to create the Avengers of NCAA football. He is going to show everybody that loyalty in the NIL game is no longer. And he's going to pull every single player he possibly can to LSU with the $25 to $30 million allowance that they are giving him. Let me say that again, 25 to 30 million a year. You know how much they gave the guy before him? Brian Kelly? 18. They are dang near doubling the amount of money that Lane is going to be able to use on players. Not to mention the $91 million that's going to be going to him. And I say again, Governor Landry, where you at, bud? I love when politicians get to, flap their gums about sports and how that happens over there, but they're not willing to step in and help the NCAA find some guidelines to all of this and fix it. No, but you could sit there and flap your gums about how these people are making too much money while you're making a ton more as well.
That's why they should stay out of the sporting circle. But my issue is, I mean, it's not really even an issue. It's kind of what is expected now with how they've set it up with the NIL, with players, with coaches. And my issue is allowing coaches to swap in the middle of a season or going into a playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And two, how this conflicts. We've obviously been talking about the NIL problems with allowing players to jump around, which they're trying to, tinker with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So they can avoid some of that, but they're going to play the game and they're going to go around whichever way. And this is LSU trying to be, but the Dodgers of college football.
100%.
And not only the Dodgers, but that's easier. It's easier to pick on, but they've found their way. Okay, well, we're going to buy a championship, or we're going to buy a team to win a championship.
They're doing what the Dodgers are doing in a genius way. Mm-hmm. They are doing something that everybody else wishes they could. And you're right. This is going to break the football space. Everybody's going to either now have to spend that much money on a team, or we're desperately going to need a cap salary here because this is going to get ridiculous. But again, I don't have a problem with Lane leaving for LSU. My entire problem was the fact that you announced it right before the college football playoff, had the audacity to look at the school and say, but I can still coach here, right?
Right.
I can still finish out my season, right?
Before I take all your players.
And then when they said no, he had the audacity to go on Twitter and say, well, if you're not with me on the plane, you're not with me at all.
Yeah.
And let Charlie come with him. And then now is sending Charlie back from Baton Rouge to Ole Miss to coach the rest of the season with the Rebels. And you don't think Charlie's going to be sitting there talking to all these players, say, coach has got 25 mil. He's going to be spreading to some of these players.
And I've heard other shows talking about their issues with it. One was, allowing Lane to leave right before the playoffs.
Right.
Greg Kerr yesterday was talking about how the audacity of him, getting money because he built that team.
Championship.
And I'm like, okay, well,
post playoff, I mean.
And then listening to JR yesterday after Moneywise, was his issue was, dude, if you're going to take the job, just leave.
Yeah.
Just go. Just leave.
Yeah. Why would you announce that you're taking the job if you're not willing to just up and leave?
You can't be the nice guy and the bad guy.
No, you can't. And
you take the job, go.
That's everybody's problem with Lane, though, is that he'll sit there and say, I don't make decisions based on money. And I don't want to say pretend to be an upstanding moral guy. He probably is. But when you say stuff like that and then you clearly make decisions that are based on money, because you really think LSU just threw out $91 million for Lane Kiffin, really? After Lane said, don't worry about the figures. I don't want to hear about the figures.
Well, one of my favorite humans in the world that listens to the morning show text in a great question, says, can you explain the $25 million that he can spend? Are they able to now pay players directly? I thought it was only through an endorsement deals with companies.
It's colleges. It is straight through colleges now. We talked about that a couple months ago when they made that decision. They no longer, granted, a lot of the NIL money is through a certain companies that want to do sponsorships and boosters.
Anything. Yeah.
But
the bigger colleges with more funds can now buy their players.
LSU can pay certain players to come play for LSU. Yes.
So say you're coming out of your senior year, you've locked in, oh, we're going to go to USC, but then LSU with a brand new coach says, hey, instead of the $2 million you're going to get at USC, we're going to pay you $5 million.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
now,
the
now
Nico
you can back out.
That's the Nico Iamaleava thing.
Exactly.
That's why he got booted from Tennessee. And yes, he got booted. He did not leave Tennessee willingly. I'm telling you right now, because if they would have kept the same contract, he would have played at Tennessee over UCLA. But it's the exact same thing. He thought his dad thought he can get more money. So they try to lay their leverage on the school, say, pay us more money. The school said no. So he left and went to UCLA for pennies on the dollar, essentially. It's the exact same thing. So now LSU's football team, just the football team, has $25 to $30 million to use every single season. Lane Kiffin is there on players. And as I said yesterday, every Ole Miss person that's ever said, well, he's just going to come in and take our players. Dude, they're doing it anyway. That's how college football has worked for years, well before NIL. If a coach left from one college to go to another, he took his players and coaches with him, especially the main commitments.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like the good side and the bad side. Some teams, we had a Rashard Matthews that played for BC,
Right.
Proved that he has the talent to go into a D1 school. And it was before NIL. And now he can actually pay. And that's what hurts, the smaller schools.
It does.
But there's the good positive side where, hey, if you're coming out of Cal State or coming out of BC and you can prove yourself that you're worth something, and then a bigger school can pay you. But now we're getting into the bigger schools, and that's the other side of it. You could be an all-pro at Ole Miss, and well, I know that me and Coach Kiffin had something, so I want to go to LSU now, and I'm going to go with him, and I'm going to win a championship over there.
And in certain ways, it hurts smaller colleges, but in certain ways, it does help smaller colleges, because a lot of these kids, yes, are hoping to get a lot of money, but much like we saw yesterday with the top quarterback commit going from, I believe it was Georgia to Vanderbilt, you're seeing it more along the lines of he sees potential in a smaller school and sees he could be that next Diego Pavia to bring a school like that into relevancy. And that in itself is going to bring you more money. So there's multiple ways that these athletes are looking at it and are starting to go into it. But for people to be afraid of Lane Kiffin stealing their players away from them is from at least Ole Miss's area. That's going to happen regardless.
They were going to leave either way.
Everybody else, every other school in the SEC, every other school in the Big Ten, you're the ones that are going to have to actually stamp down on your players. Because if you don't think Lane Kiffin's got connections to each and every one of your players, oh my God. And if he's got this much money, he will create, well, like Sparky said, the Dodgers of the NCAA football. And that's not a bad thing. That's, again, just another thing that's going to be highlighted later on, is how much money is going to be running football and sports in general here in the next couple of years, whether it's a good or a bad thing.
Well, it causes the other schools to have to raise more money, get some more, boosters, sponsors, boosters, whatever, and they're going to need more money to compete.
It's funny you say that, because when we get back from the break, I have a story about a certain coach where a bunch of boosters did exactly that, and they gave him a incredibly lucrative deal that caused him to overlook his dream job. We'll get into that story right after this break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk.
God. Sharing the studio with Beavis and Butthead over here.
Oh, Lord. What is he giggling?
No idea.
No.
Just here.
You know what?
Hey, Beavis.
When you're producing for Scott Cox, it can be anything.
It can.
It could be anything.
That's why I
he could
didn't
be
ask.
laughing with Scott. He could be laughing at Scott.
Oh,
It is
my
what it
gosh.
is. But this is the early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We are also streaming video on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the same time. So you can watch us if you would like, whichever way or whichever platform you choose. We just appreciate you being here with us from 7 to 9 every single morning as we give you the best in sports and sports entertainment. And hopefully by the end of the show, I can break down the ESPN's top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30. I want to see how many Sparky can get in the top 10.
That's
would
that's
love
gonna
to
be
see.
tough because
Honestly,
I don't
you've
watch
seen a lot of them.
NXT and I don't.
No. Most of these aren't NXT people. They're not.
Right.
Most of these are not NXT people. Actually, a lot of them, some of them are. I won't lie to you. But the top 10, at least, most of them are on the main roster. So, and yes, for those of you who are wondering, the majority are WWE talent. There are some AEW talent, which I don't expect Sparky to know.
Nope.
But would love to see how many that Sparky can get
two.
right. And honestly, you guys as well. 661-842-2000 if you'd like to text or call in. And don't cheat. I know this list has been out for a week. Okay. We haven't gotten to talk about it. It is what it is. And our boy Dirty Dom is on it. So we can talk about it.
Finally.
I teased it before the break, though. There's a lot more going on in the world of the NCAA in the coaching space, at least as the coaching hire window is wide open. And we are seeing colleges snatch up other colleges' coaches left and right. But the one coach that ain't going nowhere, and BYU has made it very, very clear that they don't want this man leaving the campus, even to go to church. They don't care. They'll do anything possible. I haven't seen a figure yet. I've been trying to find it, but they don't give a figure. All we know is it's incredibly lucrative thanks to the boosters that include the CEO of Crumble Cookie and many, many others who have stepped up to say, this man ain't going nowhere. But Keilani Saitaki, I believe is how his last name is said. I apologize if I just butchered that, sir.
You got it right on.
65% of his games have been wins for BYU. They have turned around this program ever since coming to the Big Ten. 11-2, I believe, last year. They're 11-1 this year. They're in the Big Ten championship, or I'm sorry, the Big 12 championship. I get those two mixed up too often. The Big 12 championship, well, they'll be taking on Texas Tech for an automatic bid in the playoff. So when BYU obviously heard that Penn State was sniffing around trying to get the guy,
guy.
All the rest of their guys didn't work out for him. Matt Rule obviously got pinned down by Nebraska as well. BYU
my
did
question,
the same thing.
Talking coaches, I mean, with Belichick finishing his first season as the head coach of North Carolina, was it 4-8?
I stopped watching after 2-6.
People did, but I mean, there's been a lot of rumors that he wants to go back to the NFL. Do you think there is a position for him?
No.
I mean, I was thinking maybe the Raiders team up with Brady, but I just...
You know what? That is probably the only place I could see
That's the only one, too.
Can you imagine the promo that would come from that? Just, I can see it now. Bill sitting down in a leather chair with Tom on his right shoulder and Mark on the left.
Oh, my gosh.
Oy, would that be just the villains of all the NFL? And, of course, they would grab probably Archie Manning and make him into some sort of superstar in the NFL, to be honest with you.
We'll try.
I don't think Bill leaves North Carolina, though. I think he is too proud and would honestly say, I need at least one season past this one to say if this is a dud. If he sucks next year,
I was going to say, if he gets any worse than what he got this year,
if he can't build anything, and again, much like we said about the LSU situation, everybody's players are going to be on notice, because if teams are going to get $25 million to go pay them, that's a lot of scratch.
Hell yeah.
But with Bill, if he can't build something past this season, I would say, yeah, he's looking for a different job in the NFL.
You better hope hopefully he's better than 4-8, because I don't know if very many NFL teams will be looking for a coach that's...
No, but it's kind of like the Nick Saban thing at the same time, though.
Just the name recognition?
Yeah, as long as he's out there, everybody's going to pin him to somebody's team. I mean, we've heard it with the Dolphins for Bill Belichick just a couple weeks ago.
Please no.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's always going to be rumor. There's always going to be fans or media that want to stir something up and see what they can get going here. I personally don't see Bill leaving at least this season. I think
I just don't see a market. I mean, if he can win a couple more games next year, I'm sure there'll be a market. But I mean, there's still names out there. Like you were saying, there's a lot of teams shopping. And I know the big name that we were talking about, we had a promo running for a week or two that we're talking about Gruden.
Yep.
We thought for sure at least LSU would at least discuss the conversation. But
and I'm just saying, if you threw 91 mil at Lane Kiffin, you could have paid John the same. Come on. But again, that's just me being a homer for Gruden. I apologize.
Go to Miami.
You could. Honestly, he absolutely could end up in Miami. The entire idea of them moving on from Mike McDaniel is always going to be up in the air unless you guys somehow win out and turn this season into something incredible.
There's still a 1% chance we can make the playoffs.
There's a 1% chance.
But, personally, if I was the Dolphins' new GM, I would move McDaniel into the offensive coordinator position and bring over somebody like Gruden. But I've also heard rumors, which I'll get away from the Dolphins. I know I'm just a homer with Dolphins.
That
but
is what it is.
The other rumor is that if the Ravens fall short, that it might be time for them to move on from Harbaugh. And the Dolphins owner has one for these Harbaughs, and I don't want him.
Look, John is like Mike Tomlin, which we'll get to him and the Steelers once again sometime after the break. But you've heard me call for his job, to be honest with you, and I didn't want to, but it is one of those situations where it's starting to boil over that it's been 16 years and you haven't won jack diddly.
Well, I bring it up because, I mean, just look at this. There might be a time here very soon where we can get names like Gruden, Harbaugh, Zach Taylor, not only Belichick that we mentioned, but guys like that, Tomlin. Can you imagine if those five big names are out in a coaching pool right now?
Honestly, it's just wild to me that the entire AFC North, every single one of those coaches most likely could get fired next year or by next season.
And Pete Carroll, you could throw in names like that.
Stefanski, you've heard me say it. He's already on the way out. Zach Taylor, if they can't turn this season around, most likely will get all the blame for it and will get fired. Mike Tomlin, same thing. I mean, the only one that I'm going to say most likely doesn't get fired, even if they don't make the playoffs, is Harbaugh. Harbaugh, for some reason, Baltimore loves him. They're going to stick with him, even with this bad stretch of years they've had where they can't win a playoff game. But again, if we're talking about Mike Tomlin being fired, why is John Harbaugh not in the same conversation?
One of the guys like Lane Kiffin could bring in $90-100 million in a coaching job. What is the option of, some of these coaches moving into the college world?
I could see Zach Taylor doing it.
Yeah, I could see McDaniel doing it.
I could definitely see McDaniel doing it. I couldn't see Mike Tomlin doing it.
No, just because he's,
he's a Hall of Fame coach already.
And he could walk away and go to NBC if he wanted to. But
then again, I said the same thing about Bill Belichick, and look where we are now.
Yeah.
So money talks at the end of the day, and these coaching changes for colleges, let alone pro football teams, are going to be the talk of sports talk here for the next foreseeable couple weeks. Because I mean, outside of Penn State, I think everybody has pretty much stamped down who they want as their head coach. We've even seen head coaches keep defensive coordinators that are the interim head coaches. Auburn, which I commend. Awesome. I think that's great. Honestly, I'm one of those people. I think if there's an interim head coach in there that was fighting for the job, but is willing to stick around if you ask him to, that shows a lot of maturity on his end, because obviously he wanted that head coaching job at the end of it all. But for the new head coach coming in to recognize that this guy's got a connection with the players, although the defense wasn't stellar, they were, I believe, 32nd in the nation this year, somewhere in that area. They still have some camaraderie. They have some chemistry. And we're talking about teams losing their players due to some NIL money getting thrown around. It's less likely for that to happen if the players like the coach that's there. So more than likely, I think that that's going to be a positive move for Auburn, but you're going to hear a lot of really weird stories. I still, to this day, have no idea who Penn State's going to sign as head coach. That's the only one that is just out there that everybody calls it their dream job, including the BYU head coach who was this close to leaving for it if it wasn't for the incredibly lucrative contract that they keep saying is going to be coming. I'm assuming we're going to hear about it today. And if it's anywhere near Lane Kiffin's contract, I honestly wouldn't blame him. Again,
But it's not about the money.
well, for Lane Kiffin, it's not about the money, apparently.
Of course not.
Everybody else, no, I haven't heard any other coach say that. I mean, shoot, Nick Saban's wife has even come out and said, just send me a $sign. I haven't seen any figures. She'll talk Nick back into coaching right now. You send some of these
million. Get him off his recliner.
You think she's happy seeing one of Nick's old assistant coaches getting $91 million on a contract?
Like, babe.
And he's just sitting at ESPN next to Pat McAfee holding his chair while Pat stands on top of it. Come on now.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying. Let's take a break real quick. We'll get into the NFL news on the other side. The Steelers have made a move, but it's not the one that the fan base was hoping for whatsoever. And to be honest with you, now I'm starting to sympathize with the fans, which Mike Tomlin has said he does as well. So we'll get to that as well. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Part of me wants to wait to see if this is the real version. Okay. You never know. You never know, Sparky. He's falling down the rabbit hole of AI music, which honestly hasn't been a single one that's actually been bad that he's played. I'm sure you guys could probably send in plenty that are awful.
There is a lot of awful ones.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, all the ones that Sparky has played so far have been fantastic. And you can hear each and every one of them every single weekday right here on KGEO Sports Talk from 7 to 9 on the Early Bird Special. You can also hear sports all weekend long. Yes, we are not ESPN Bakersfield anymore, but that does not mean the NFL or the NCAA is going anywhere. We have an incredible lineup for you starting on Thursday with the Cowboys headed to Detroit to take on the Lions at 4:30. Then on Saturday, we have a pair of championship games for you. The SEC Championship starting at 12:30. That'll be number 4 Georgia taking on number 10 Alabama. And then the Big Ten Championship right after that at 4:45 is number 1 Ohio State versus number 2 the Indiana Hoosiers. Again, my preview for the entire college football playoff final, but God only knows. Maybe something crazy will happen. Ohio State will lose. And then on Sunday, we have we have 3 NFL games that we can play for you. That'd be at 9:30. We're going to have the Steelers headed to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Then at 1:05, you'll have the Broncos headed to Las Vegas, to take on the Raiders. And then at night, 4:30, we got the Texans headed to Arrowhead to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, who are swiftly falling out of playoff contention. Thank God.
Yay!
Thank God. But then again, like I said yesterday, it's going to be weird not seeing Patrick Mahomes in the playoff. It really is.
Not as weird as.
Well, and
I'm
going to
be happy because if him and Lamar are out, the Bills better not blow this.
I know, really. This is the one year. It's like, okay, Josh, you literally don't have anybody in the way. Can you get there? But then again, we got the Vrabel situation with the Patriots. They look fantastic, arguably the best team in the AFC. The Broncos have the best defense in the AFC, and that's not questionable.
Or some teams like maybe Houston or the Colts who but let's get into that because we've got news out of Pittsburgh. And we talked about it a little bit earlier in the week, but with the fans chanting fire Tomlin, I mean, what do you think?
You've heard me sing this guy's praises. I love Mike Tomlin personally. I think we need to start putting him in the greatest coach of all time conversation at some point, especially if he ends up winning one more Super Bowl, whether that be with Pittsburgh or not, God only knows. But I'm starting to sympathize with Steeler fans because I keep putting it into perspective in this way. We're talking about the Chiefs not making the playoffs, right? If the Chiefs have a 9-8 year, it's a positive for all NFL fans. Why? Because 1, they'll probably miss the playoffs, and 2, they're going to have a god-awful draft pick. They're going to have a middle of the first round, maybe draft pick that's not really going to be an impact player unless they move somewhere, right? That has been the Steelers' life for the last 20 years. Imagine that. They've gotten their star players, their TJ Watts, their Cam Haywards, their, whatever you want to call, whoever you want to use. But for that to be a compounding thing for years and years, over and over and over, that's got to get old. And for you not to have sniffed the Super Bowl in quite some time, that's got to make it even worse. So much like I said about John Harbaugh, yes, you had the one Super Bowl season with Ray and Ed, but haven't really done much since then. Mike Tomlin might need to be in the same conversation. Yes, you had the Super Bowl with Ben, but where you been, coach? And although, yes, never had a losing season, that's an incredible stat, and you could put it on a t-shirt, as Pat McAfee loves to say. But if you're not winning Super Bowls in a city that demands Super Bowls, I kind of get it. I totally understand, and I'm not alone. Let's hear from Mike Tomlin real quick. I'm sorry not to cut you off.
It's just crazy.
Let's hear from Mike Tomlin because he's starting to sympathize with the fans as well.
In general, I agree with him. From this perspective, football is our game. We're in the sport entertainment business, and so if you root for the Steelers, entertaining them is winning. And so when you're not winning, it's not entertaining. And if you've been in this business, you understand that. And so I respect it. I share frustrations. I understand what makes this thing go, and winning is what makes this thing go.
I love Mike Tomlin, but I saw probably one of the funniest tweets, and I can't even remember who it was. but the tweet said, Mike Tomlin is the kind of coach that'll sit there and tell you at a press conference that we can't eat soup with a fork. We need a spoon, and we don't have any spoons in the locker room right now. And then we'll go and make a move for somebody that's way out of their prime. And that's what we got yesterday when the Pittsburgh Steelers decided they were going to sign Adam Thielen
and release
Darius Slay.
Which, dude, I mean, we talked about it in the offseason, but I'm gonna say it again. We kind of saw it on the wall, man. I mean, what did they expect? Did they expect Aaron Rodgers in his 40s to come in and just, I mean, after trading Fitzpatrick to Miami and picking up guys like Jonnu, which has been non-existent, which we expected because when he was with Arthur before, you know, it's just not one, he's not the number one tight end, and that was the guy that Rodgers was taking a shot at. Two, you let Pickens go, which is having a Pro Bowl year in Dallas, which is not surprising, but you know, half this team is over the hill. And I'm not surprised, but personally, I can't put it all on Tomlin unless he is the one that was pushing for all these older veterans.
I highly doubt that was the case. I think Mike Tomlin's one of those guys that you just kind of lay the chips in front of him and he gets it done whichever way he
Give me 53 players, I'll put them together.
Exactly. And I agree with you. I think this entire cocktail that Pittsburgh has put together just wasn't going to work in the first place. I am shocked that Jonnu hasn't done a better job, to be honest with you, because Arthur Smith usually is the coach that can bring the best out of him. The one that I knew wasn't going to do well is DK. I knew DK wasn't going to be a top-tier wide receiver in this offense because Drake London couldn't have been a top-tier wide receiver in this offense, and that's no shot at DK Metcalf. That's just saying that talented wide receivers don't look good in a Arthur Smith offense. There's a reason A.J. Brown wanted out of Tennessee when Arthur was there.
But this team looked better when they had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
Right.
I mean, they didn't look better this year with Aaron Rodgers and the amount of money they paid and were the expectations that they were getting for bringing in a veteran quarterback. I'm not surprised.
And that's the point I was going to get to, is just the cocktail that you have created for Arthur Smith's offense, which should be a run first offense with a mobile quarterback. This wasn't going to work from the get-go. It really wasn't. And now you have an aging defense, literally, that hasn't been able to put it together on their end of the field either, which usually is your bread and butter. So this entire season for the Steelers is just, for lack of a better word, frustrating.
Well, like you said, when you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you think of a rough and tough, gritty defense and a run-heavy team.
Right.
Both of them are gone.
No, none of that has not been the case at all this season. And again, I don't know if it's just the style of offense they're playing. Personally, I think it is. As a Falcons fan, I've known how this offense and the limitations of it. And trust me, it wasn't Marcus Mariota. That was the limitations of the Atlanta. Yeah, Mariota. It was not the limitations of the Atlanta offense back then. It really wasn't. But at the end of the day, I sympathize with the fan base because you're used to winning. And you're used to winning a lot. But when you're used to winning and then get let down every single year in the playoffs, that's got to get tiring. And who's got to take the blame for that? The head coach. At some point, as a head coach, you have to take blame for this. And unfortunately, I think it's just time to run its course for Mike Tomlin. I think that is most likely what's going to happen. And I hate saying that. You guys heard me at the beginning of the season. I talked this guy up to high heaven. And I honestly believe if he is let go from Pittsburgh, he will find a coaching job if he wants one within a week. Easily. If you don't think Cincinnati or any of these other teams would be calling him, you're crazy.
I mean, this team is 6-6, tied in first place with Baltimore in the division. They get the Ravens twice.
Yep.
They get Miami, Cleveland, and Detroit. Do you think this team makes it into the playoffs?
No.
You think Baltimore takes it?
Yeah. I think Baltimore definitely takes at least one of the two games, if not both of them, at this point right now, because they have figured out at least something. They may have lost this week to Cincinnati, but that was just a really bad game. I'm not sure exactly what Lamar was doing during that entire game, but he wasn't playing football. And honestly, the trajectory of these two teams, the way this team started out up here and is now all the way down here, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. One of your defensive leaders is crying that the quarterback need him in the stomach. Like,
Oh my gosh,
get
that was the
over
worst
it,
one.
dude.
And that, I think we're gonna find it out here in the next 4 or 5 weeks if which team, Baltimore or Pittsburgh,
Wants it.
or even Cincinnati, that
I
can
would-
finally.
If Cincinnati wins out and somehow sneaks this away from Baltimore,
Not only did Zach Taylor save his job,
well, no, because that would be the biggest shock of the year to me, to
Yeah.
be honest, especially with the way this season started, them not being able to sign Trey, not being able to sign their first round draft pick. And now we're talking about them potentially making the playoffs. I mean,
well, the Ravens and Steelers made it a lot easier for him.
absolutely. But again, that's also a franchise that is trying to place blame on the coach for things that I don't think are really in his control. But that is what it is. That's the NFL. Sometimes someone's got to take the blame, and it is never, ever the general manager. Let's take a break, though. On the other side, we'll get to our Waiver Wire Wednesday picks of the week. Plus, I have some updated news from the realm of the Giants, as the GM has come out and defended his roster in, well, their search of a new head coach in hopes that they could actually turn their entire franchise around as well. And he's actually said something that I respect. I'm not going to lie to you. He's won some points with me. So I'll let you know what that is on the other side of the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Okay, is this an AI or is this a cover?
Oh, it's AI and it's that. Don't let it get to the singing. I just like the intro. The
Now I want to know.
It is
Don't
bad.
call me that.
It is bad.
All right, well, let's get out before we get it's coming up right now. Welcome back to another Bird Special. This is KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Oh, I almost heard it.
It sounded like Weird Al.
Kind of does. What's wrong with Weird Al? I love Weird Al. I grew up a Weird Al.
That is
White and nerdy, baby. Okay, white and nerdy on this.
Waiver Wire Wednesday. Then a lot of leagues. This is the final week before the playoffs, and in
I
a
know,
lot of
really-
our leagues,
We really shouldn't be giving you these picks because both myself and Sparky are vying for playoff spots. And yeah, our picks are going to probably get taken by all these people that are listening to us. And we're going to be left out in the dry. But hey, that's what we're here to do. Here
and
to
I
help
have to
you,
beat Kerr and hope 3 other people lose. So
including me.
Yeah.
Which is a good possibility if I'm being honest with you. That's how it works for me at the end of the season.
But it's
let's get
fantasy.
this-
You never know. Waiver Wire Wednesday. So I'll kick it off. My quarterback this week to pick up, and it's not a favorable one, but I'm going to go with CJ Stroud at 20%. And he's playing Kansas City, and hit or miss Kansas City's defense. But if they are down, then he's going to have to throw. And I think Houston's defense is going to keep them in this game.
I agree with you. And honestly, when it comes to these the primetime games for most of the superstars on those teams, that's where you get the most out of them. So I like the CJ Stroud pick. Personally, I'm telling you, go with Shedeur Sanders this week. I know he didn't look great against the Niners, but he's not playing the Niners this week. He's playing the Tennessee Titans, who, let me run this down for you, 24th in total defense. They give up 345 yards a game. They're 30th in points allowed, 14th in the pass, and 22nd in rush. This is the prime game for Shedeur Sanders to just let loose, not worry so much about making mistakes. He's 4% rostered in all of your leagues. So if you're desperate for a quarterback, personally, I would go for Shedeur Sanders this week, but that's just me.
At running back, which is pretty scarce in a lot of leagues, and I was one of them. And running back, I'm going to go with Chris Rodriguez in Washington against the Vikings defense. That is also hit and miss. And I'm hoping that their quarterback 1 is back this week.
He's supposed to be. He was nearly cleared last week from what I understand, but didn't make it just at the end of the protocol.
If so, I think that will open up the run game. And I think Chris Rodriguez, I know they're splitting carries over there, but Rodriguez seems to get the majority of them the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, it's fishing, but I'm going to go with Chris Rodriguez this week.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's really a iffy week for running backs. My initial pick was going to be Chuba Hubbard because it seems like Carolina is starting to go back to him as the main running back over Rico. But my pick for you this week is Bam Knight from Arizona. I like Bam. He scored 3 touchdowns the last 3 weeks, 2 on the ground, 1 in the air. And honestly, he's been a pretty good, consistent running back throughout these last 4 or 5 weeks since Jacoby has become the starting quarterback down there. They're really trusting him to take over for James Conner and do what James used to do in a situation where he is splitting carries, much like a lot of these other running backs are going to be looking at. But when you're looking at a guy who's 20% rostered and he's scored 3 times in 3 weeks on 10 touches, that's pretty impressive at the running back position. So I'd go with Bam Knight this week.
Over a wide receiver, there is a lot of younger names out there right now at the top of the targets. But this week, I'm going to go with, because I saw the guy last week with the New Orleans Saints, Devon Vale. I know he was recently traded over to the Saints. And then in the 3 games he's getting more targets and more targets every week. And I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback, but I will say Vale is getting targets, and he is the new number 2 now with Shaheed out. So I picked Vale just because he's getting the targets.
I agree.
I know he's had a case of the drops, but I mean, he had, I think, 16 targets last week against Miami, and I think that will continue as the Saints continue to need to throw after they're down.
See, I have the same guy. I have 16 targets the last 2 weeks, 8 for 8 against Miami. He actually broke out last week for the Saints, and I like him too, especially since they moved on from guys like Shaheed and from Brandon Cooks, who no longer is with the team as well.
Buffalo.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Vale be that next guy for New Orleans, at least for the rest of the season, because Tyler Shuck needs somebody at wide receiver to be able to save his butt. My last pick is at tight end. I'm going with Brenton Strange this week from Jacksonville. Ever since he's returned from his injury, he's been pretty consistent, about 13, 14 points a game, even though he's only being targeted about 4 or 5 times during those games. And the offense for Jacksonville is really starting to get rolling. They've taken the division lead right now over the Colts. And to be honest with you, they're going against the Colts this week, who have a notoriously weak defense when it comes to covering tight ends. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Strange get a lot of targets this week.
I like that pick. I went with Darren Waller, not only just because he is back in Miami. He came back last week and he was on a snap count, but Tua, when he was standing up, he hit Waller 3 or 4 times, and 2 of them would have been touchdowns, but they were called back on stupid ass penalties. And I believe after I read from the Sun Sentinel that Waller is a full go and won't be on a snap count this week against the Jets. And I know the Jets like to go out all blitz against Tua because they know how fragile he is. And if you know Tua likes to feed those tight ends.
Yes, he does, especially when he's under pressure. But I feel like that's a lot of quarterbacks. It's the safety blanket. And honestly, there's not a lot of better ones than Waller right now. Just before we get to the break, though, let's break down some of these stories from the NFL, and we'll pull in our guy, Jim Gillis, right afterwards, talk about KRRJ Collectables. Unfortunately, I apologize. Unfortunately, KRJ is no longer. They're going to be closing the store. So if you are somebody who's looking for some pop dolls or some collectibles right now for your kids, especially with the Christmas season upon us, you're not going to get better deals than you will at KRRJ. So we will help him as well as helping you guys get those deals out there. Let's shift over to the Giants real quick, since we only got about 2 minutes and I can get this out in 2 minutes. Yesterday, I told you guys the word of the day was weird, and it continues today. For the Giants, apparently, well, actually, this is a good thing. The entire story about Abdul Carter in the video, it's not real. That's not what happened. He was just late again to team meetings, and this has been an ongoing problem with Abdul Carter. But Brian Burns has come out and said that he believes this one is stuck, especially being out for the first quarter. And honestly, coming into a game where it was down 17-0, and he got his first full sack of the season, which was promising, I suppose, for the Giants. But the thing I wanted to highlight was Joe Schoen, the GM, coming out and defending the roster itself and saying that the roster is there. He just needs to find the coach to put it together. And the one thing that he said, though, that I gave him a lot of credit for, and I'm going to read this verbatim because I don't want to say this wrong. Actually, no, I'm not, because we're running out of time, so I will paraphrase it. He took credit for, or he took responsibility for how the team is playing. He knows that he can't bat 1,000 anymore, and I commend him for that. He's at least chalking up to the fact that he's made a lot of mistakes since being the GM of the Giants. But the one thing that he is not wavering on is that he will be part of the coach hiring process and finding the next guy there. I still say that's such a bad idea. I don't think this guy should be picking your next coach, but hey, man, that's on you guys. He's maybe had 4 good draft picks out of the 30 he's chosen in the last 4 years. So if the Giants love it, then the Giants can continue to be a fire. Let's take a break. We'll talk to our guy, Jim Gillis, on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Early Bird Special, hour 2 here on this third day of December.
What is this stuff coming from the sky?
What?
Is it rain?
What's this?
What?
What's this?
the-
I'm sorry. I'm a different. I'm a different generation than all y'all, but I do love Christmas
Barely.
Vacation. I do love Christmas Vacation. I wish it was under better circumstances, but we had to call in our guy Jim Gillis from KRRJ Collectables because we did see the news that unfortunately the store is closing. But
Yes.
this is kind of a positive thing for those of you guys who are, Christmas shopping right now still, and you are looking for collectibles to be able to, give your kids or stocking stuffers. What better place to get them than at Jim's store at KRJ Collectables? So, sir, thank you for joining us.
Oh, definitely. I'm glad to be here. You guys are a lot of fun. So
Thank you.
This is
Appreciate
always
that.
great.
Like I said, wish it was under better circumstances, but should we just start with where we're going from here?
Well, we're going to move from having a brick and mortar to being online.
Mhm.
It's going to take a little bit to do that move because, running a brick and mortar and trying to do everything online, I'm not young anymore. I can't work 22 hours a day and still actually function. So,
Fair.
I work until I basically am tired and take a break like an old man.
All right.
But yeah, it's going to be fun. We're have some stuff on good sales because the less I have to move,
The better.
the better. So we're doing some stuff like that, but it's just a thing. Nothing you could do about it. The economy hasn't been pleasant the last 3.5 years, so you just have to move on.
And real quick, what are some of those sales that you have going right now? I know you have them pumped up on your social media.
We've
but-
got things like 50% off lounge fly bags. We've got our designer art toys at 40% off. All of our Funko Pops are 30% off. So that's really good. Our anime statues are all 30% off.
Nice.
Normally you can't find those that kind of sale.
Oh, no, I'll be coming in to look at a couple, trust
Lots
me.
of little things, we've got the little keychains and blind bags and things like that are $4. Gosh, I'm trying to remember all the fig pins are $10. Our Funko Gold products are 50% off. Same with our Handmade by Robot stuff. It's just trying to, like I said, move some stuff, give some people a good deal. And
When's final day?
final day is the 28th, Sunday the 28th.
Gotcha.
We were going to make it December 24th, but I figured that, there'll probably be some kids who got some money for Christmas.
Yeah, no,
and
that's a good point.
they could come take advantage of, hopefully we have something they want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you guys are obviously moving to an online platform, like you said. Is that going to make it a little bit cheaper on your wallet as far as, not having to pay rent now? Or
So the main thing has been is the last 2 years for me has been running a business to pay rent.
Right.
That's what the
Right.
problem has been, is that if people don't know who don't have a business, they don't understand that rent in Bakersfield is more expensive than you could get a place in LA for cheaper.
Yeah.
And we're not talking like LA is more expensive. No, LA is cheaper, and you've got probably 10 times more people.
Yeah.
So it's really weird. Rent here in Bakersfield has always been really high for commercial and for retail, and it just is crazy.
it's bizarre.
And if you're not getting enough traffic, and you guys know I sell stuff that people don't need. So if you don't need what I have, if we have a bad economy, that's just what happens.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be tough for local business owners in general. We've talked about it. I do another show with the MoneyWise guys, and they've cornered that. That is a key part if you're a local business owner, and just having to strategize on how to keep the lights on. And continues to get tougher and tougher. And like you said, it's a niche type business when you're selling collectibles. I mean, I grew up with a lot of collectible stores that we'd go to, and none of them are still around. They sell them online. You find them on, whether it's on their social media and eBay, or some of them just fold up. And I mean, I'm glad that you're still going to be able to sell things online, and we'll continue to pump it up because you're a local guy that, that have been here for years. So I mean, it's tough on a lot of local businesses. I was just telling my son, and I'm going back to my age. I grew up, you know, the Toys R Us and the KB toy stores, and I would spend hours just going filling the packs of football cards. I'm like, okay, this one's got an insert, this one's got an insert. But I mean, that you go to the marketplace now, it is a ghost town. And you know, 10 years ago when he was probably in high school, you know, everyone hung out at the marketplace. So I mean, I'm going to continue to tell people, you know, you shop local, and whether it's online or not, we're going to continue to pump it up, brother.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. You know, it is what it is. We've got I mean, you guys have noticed over the last couple of years, big stores closing.
Yes.
I mean, just by where my store was, we lost Joann's and Dave's Bridal,
Yep.
which aren't, you know, Joann's Fabrics was not a small company.
No.
I mean, they got basically bought out by you know, another company that just wanted to shred them up anyhow. So
The bridal store has
what
been
we're
there
doing.
forever.
Right.
Oh yeah. And it just is, it's the way our economy is changing, you know. Let's be honest, if you're looking for something these days, you just go right straight to Amazon and type
Yeah.
in what you're looking for.
It's
And then
simple.
hopefully you can find it someplace else. You've heard people say, well, we want to get rid of monopolies and stuff. Well, no, we've created more and more
A bigger one.
monopolies.
Yep.
And you hope that you can make it through and do things, and we'll still be doing local events and you know, the cons in town, but it's just going to be, we're just not going to have a physical store open anymore. It's gotten too expensive.
Which brings me to my next question. For those people who usually come to your store for these meet and greets, obviously McFoley has been there multiple times. You just had a Power Ranger there. Are you going to continue to do those?
We're going to see what we can do. I'm kind of getting ready to talk to Mick's rep about something coming up in a couple of years, because he won't be back for a couple more years.
Right.
He does a tour like every year and a half, every 2 years. This year was his 40 years of Foley. And
God, has it been 40 years?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
When you're old, you're old, man. But we'll see what we can get done. If at worst we have to, you know, get something at like the not Holiday Inn, the Hilton or whatever, and get a nice room and have everybody come in and do a meet and greet, or maybe even something else, which I'm looking into to see what we can do. We're going to try to continue that. With the other ones, it's a different situation. Probably not going to push any of them and just let them come and do the cons like they had been doing.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, I mean, I was just curious because obviously you just had the blue Power Ranger in there, and
Yes.
it seemed like we were going to get a couple more of those. And then obviously I saw the news. So I was like, oh, you know, a little bit of a heartbreak on that one.
Yeah, we've had a few guests. I think we've had 3 people in the last year. We had Mick, we had Lou Ferrigno, and then David.
That's right.
Yost.
I forgot Lou Ferrigno was there.
But it just really comes down to, you know, participation.
True.
And you know, what the costs are and all of that stuff. And that's where I know this sounds really bad, but a lot of people don't understand these things aren't free.
Yeah.
And as a business, it does cost you money to bring in people. And if they're not bringing in the same amount, at least you break even, then you kind of shy away.
It
from
hurts
it
a
again.
little bit. Yeah. So for the online portion of your store, where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
Just continue to follow us on Instagram, because we'll be posting once we've got the website up. We'll be posting everything on there.
Okay.
So that is the best way to follow us, and then we'll move to that. We'll also be doing some Macari and some eBay, but that's mainly for people outside of the area. And like I said, we'll still be doing shows in town, so people will still see us around and get to see my ugly mug. And
fantastic.
You know, continue with that.
Well, I mean, on the positive side, you don't have to sit in the store all day every day. I mean, is your wife happy? I mean, you get to at least do some things that you probably couldn't do before.
She don't care. She works more than I do. So no, the good thing will be is that I've put on like 50, 60 pounds sitting in a store over the last 5.5 years. And I won't have to just sit there sitting around, because it sounds weird. Like people, well, you can do a bunch of stuff. Once you start doing things, if someone comes in, you've got
You
a
have to
mess
stop and-
created,
yeah.
and it gets really tough. And
Well, and no one could ever put anything back where they actually found it too, which always bugs me. I'm not even a store owner, and that bugs me.
Someone came in the other day and was like, where's all your stuff at? I'm like, dude, this is as close as we're going to get to having this as organized as we can, because, you know, you can't afford to pay somebody to just go, okay, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness,
Let's
oh my
put this
goodness.
back. Let's put this back. So I know we talked about it last time you were on, but for somebody that might have never been to KRRJ Collectables, what can they walk in and expect? I mean, I know a lot of my buddies and people that have been listening are waiting until the last minute for Christmas shopping, and there's a lot
You
of
got to.
collectors here in this town. Well, I know. I mean, we're working 2-3 jobs
Mhm.
just to pay our rent as well. So I've got a 16-year-old, and I've got some nephews and nieces that are under 6 years old that get into the collectors now. So, I mean, what would somebody expect to walk into KRRJ before you guys close doors?
Well, what's funny is that everybody walks in and thinks we only sell Funkos because it's the
There's so many of
there's
them,
so
yeah.
many, but it's like a bulk item. So it's like, you know, you go into Costco, right, and you see toilet paper. Oh, Costco only sells toilet paper because they got 12 billion, but it's gigantic, it takes up a lot of space. Well, that's kind of the problem we have, is people walk in and think we only sell Funkos, but we don't. You know, we sell action figures, we sell designer art toys, we sell anime statues, we sell fig pins, lounge fly bags. We have we don't have a great selection anymore, Hot Wheels, because they're hard to get all the time, but we have a lot of little things as well, and we try to cater more towards the teen adult collector, because getting children's toys is quite a bit harder. And let's just be honest, there's no way in heck I can compete with Target and Walmart. Their buying power is beyond what any of us could comprehend.
Right.
So we do have a few things, but it's not like you're going to walk in there and find a baby shower item.
Well, what I like about your shop is you're not going to find the usual
Exactly.
normal stuff that you would find at a Target. And those, if anybody's a collector like I am, you know, you like these shops because this is the stuff you didn't know you wanted, or you've been looking
Exactly.
for, and you're like, well, they never have it at Target. Well, if you go to a local shop like this is what you'll spend an hour in there. I'll tell you right now, because you go in there looking for one thing, just like Costco. You go in there looking for toilet paper, you leave with 5 or 6 other things you didn't go there to get. But that's my favorite thing. I have to tell my wife, okay, what's my budget if I go over here? Because I'm gonna see, me and Burdick went last time, and I was going to look at the Undertaker stuff, and I was like, oh damn, the Skeletor over here, the Ninja Turtle over here. And that's the best thing about collecting, is just finding things. And that's what I like about your shop.
I could
Yeah.
tell you right now, not to cut you off, I
Oh, no,
apologize.
you're not cutting me off.
I usually don't buy pop dolls. Normally, I like, my roommate had a ton of them at one point, and it kind of turned me off to him. I won't lie to you. He would stack them up in his room, and he kept them because he was going to sell them later on, and made actually a considerable amount of money on a lot of them because he worked for GameStop and got, you know, connection to all like the exclusive ones. But when I walk into his shop and see all of these different ones that I didn't even know they made, I'm immediately just like, oh God. I mean, that last time I walked in, I walked out with what, 5 Pokemon ones at least.
And you're an
Like,
anime guy too.
I am.
So
That's the thing that I don't care for about Target and Walmart, is that true, they have better buying power, but usually they use that on stuff that is just so generic that you really don't care to buy it. You know what I mean?
It can be a different experience. When I set up my store, I wanted to be more like the collectible stores in LA.
Yeah.
I wanted to be something that wasn't here in Bakersfield anymore. You know, we lost, like you talked about Toys R Us and KB stores. We lost that. And if you remember, Toys R Us's thing was talking about being a kid. And when I first started my store, the main thing I wanted was for adults to be able to come in and feel like a kid again. If you remember, during COVID, everybody was depressed and walking around like zombies. And I wanted to just see people smile, have fun, find something. If they didn't find nothing, at least they enjoyed themselves. And my store is not like normal collectible stores, because I'm retail. So, you know, I'm selling at mostly retail prices plus tax. And you just don't see that as much. So it was created to be that different, bring back that experience of what it used to be like when you went into small stores. You know, the owner says hi to you, how are you doing? Talks a bunch of crap, and you know, maybe you don't like what he's saying, or he don't like what you're saying. It doesn't matter.
But you create a relationship between the two of you and all that. No, I totally feel
I've
that
had people
too.
sit in my store and we talk for 2 hours. You know, we BS about sports, or we talk about movies, especially movies and music. And, you know, it's about creating friendships in a way that just isn't out there anymore. I mean, you go to a big box store, you're lucky if you see an employee, especially now that they all do all these pulling orders and all you're doing is fighting carts through the store.
Lazy ass people can't even go into stores now. I tell my son
Don't
we
get
don't
me
go to
started on that.
drive-throughs. I'm like, get out. If you want fast food, get out and go order it.
Hey, that's what we do at In-N-Out. My daughter works at In-N-Out.
I will not wait in that
we,
line.
We
I
literally,
refuse.
I tell my wife, we can go walk inside, order our stuff, and walk outside. And that person that
Still
was
sitting
just
there.
pulled up when we got there is still 40 cars back. I mean, we've lost that, right? You've heard the old adage of putting a shopping cart back, right? How hard is it to put a shopping cart back? Nobody does it. They're just like, I'm too lazy to walk 12 feet.
Right.
And, you know, that's our society right now.
See,
we want that ease.
The laziest thing that that I will use till the day I die now is the online ordering of your groceries, and you can actually just drive up and pick it up. I don't like going through the grocery store. Couldn't care
I
less.
can't do it. I can't do
But
it.
fast food and all the rest of that, I agree with you 110%. Get out of the car.
I will never let somebody pick my food for me. You know, it's just a thing. I don't like. I don't know what those people are, you know, what they did prior to touching my food, especially if it's coming to meat and produce. There's nobody.
I'm not having them wrap the meat for me. They're just grabbing packages.
Yeah, and
I can't do it. I have to go in and I have to do my own shopping.
I have to see what my meat looks like when I pick it up. Now that sounds bad. But.
Yeah, but I'm the same way. I'm the same way. And there's stuff. It's the same rule. Like MoneyWise taught me: don't go to the grocery store hungry, or you'll buy things that you didn't need. But
that's why they have the chip aisles right there with the ice cream. I mean, do you really need to buy both chips and ice cream? Well, they're both next to each other, so let me pick some.
We did try one time, and I think it was right after COVID. We tried the grocery store delivery, and I was like, "This is not the right peanut butter, or this is not the right bread," and they'll sub stuff out. But I'm personally, I guess I'm old school because I won't go to the drive-through. I will not let other people deliver my orders. And I see people all the time. We'll go to Target or go to the Costco or whatever, and they'll be sitting in the lazy fat ass line. You're like, hey, just have somebody just bring my food out. I'm like, you're going to drive all the way out there. You can't get out of your vehicle.
Well,
in certain situations.
There's situations where the stuff is good. I mean, like, so when my wife was super, super sick and I'm running my store and she wants Gatorade and she uses the thing and has them deliver Gatorade to the front door.
Right.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's way different.
But now we've got, you guys have seen all the videos of these people that deliver and they're like, you didn't give me a tip, so I'm going to put all my stuff back. You're not getting, it's like, you just drove all, do you not understand all the waste and
all the wasted time that just happened because you got mad about it? Like,
you don't look smart. People think they look smart making light of other people.
Right.
It's just like, no, just be nice. It's not that hard to be nice.
It's the Christmas season. Be nice. I mean, look at the sweatshirt. Obviously, I love that movie though. I really do.
This is my favorite. And if people that are just listening, it is Christmas Vacation. I watch it religiously. Black Friday, it played from opening until close, back to back to back to back.
You know,
and I don't ever get sick of that movie.
It's funny. I was just asked on a different show what my top 10 comedy movies of all time were, and I actually put Christmas Vacation on there. I don't put it necessarily. Like when I give a top 10, it's never an actual list. It's just the top 10 I could think of. But I do have that one up there. It's fantastic.
It's
the light scene where he's trying to get the
everything.
lights to work with the family, all waiting for it, is just amazing. And I don't know. It
Cousin
gets
Eddie,
me every year.
You know, emptying his thing into the gutter. I mean, it's just it's pure comedy and it doesn't care.
Mhm.
And that's what I love about it. I'm so old that I love old school. You know, like one of my funniest movies of all time is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I can watch
That was on
all the
somebody's
time.
list.
And it's just comedy's supposed to be funny. It's
Mm.
who cares if it offends 2 people, if it offends 100 people, if it doesn't offend anybody. If it's funny, it's funny.
I'm glad we're moving more towards that again, though. You see comedians just not caring about being canceled anymore. Because honestly, I think personally, and I'm not trying to revive it, but I think cancel culture is pretty much dead.
I hope so, because
I think it's pretty much, or at least what it was when it first started is dead.
well, what it's done is it's literally it's actually made everything worse.
It really has.
I talked about, gosh, I'm gonna get so off topic here, but I used to talk about how when they started talking about bullying, is it made bullying worse. When I was a kid, there was always a bully. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter what school you went to or anything. There was always one bully, but there was one.
Yeah. Now there's a horde of bullies.
Now, well, and the worst thing is those bullies are all anonymous, and the truth is back in my day, the bully was usually the dude who could kick everybody's butt.
Yep.
And now these bullies probably couldn't pick up a toothbrush off the floor
Right.
because they're too busy gaming all day. And it's
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah. And in my opinion, being physically bullied is a lot less worse than being mentally bullied by somebody you can't do anything about. You're just like, stop it.
Well, the image never leaves your head, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff psychology wise we can get into with that, but we do not nearly
Get
have
off
the
that
time.
topic.
to
We
get into
are
that.
a
Yes.
sports show. You are a 49ers fan.
Yes, I am.
4 or
Yes, I
5
am.
weeks left in the season. How
4
you
games.
feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think that with everything we've lost this year, I'm just amazed at how we've been able to win. And the truth is, I think we've only been slapped once, and that's the other games we were somewhat close in. We had a chance where we could have won. I think that if Purdy hadn't been hurt during a couple of those games, we probably would have been able to win them.
Well, that's fair, but I think Mac Jones did a pretty dang good job.
He did an amazing job filling in, but you can literally see.
Yeah, no, there's a difference.
There's a tier difference. I'm sitting here looking at quarterback tiers behind you, but yeah,
don't listen to Mahomes Mountain. He don't know. What he's talking about.
Dude, he's a
Nick Wright is something else.
I'm cool with everybody being a homer. I mean, you've got to be if your team is your team. Yeah, you're looking over at his Dolphins hat. I see the Raiders thing. If you stick with your team when they suck,
yeah,
it's going to be even better when they're good. And the thing is that you have to be a homer. You have to say, oh, we're going to get this, next year. Look at, we're making steps towards better. I'm just lucky that, the Niners are 9-4, and they have literally lost 2 All-Pros. Not a guy who's just, a Pro Bowler. We're talking All-Pros, 2 of the best in the league, and Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. Fred Warner's not a guy you just replace.
No.
Unless you can steal somebody off another team. But
can we even remember a time, though, where you guys didn't have that middle linebacker? I mean, you had Patrick Willis, you had Navarro Bowman, even the kid in between them and Fred Warner, whose name I'm forgetting. Boland?
Boland for 1 year, and then he retired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had so many concussions in his entirety of his career. Obviously,
but he was seriously, he was going to be so amazing.
Right.
We had Reuben Foster for
Reuben Foster. That's another one too.
But psychosis got to him. But you got to, to be a middle linebacker. Excuse me, you got to be a little crazy.
Oh yeah.
Fred Warner. Nobody thought him coming out of college was going to be what he is. Patrick Willis, yes. Patrick Willis was a first rounder, and he was a beast in college. Yeah. And he continued that. And unfortunately,
if there was a defensive player that should have been an MVP in the NFL, it should have been Patrick Willis.
Yeah. He his problem was he had he had turf toe.
Yeah.
And that ended his career after 8 seasons. I mean, he probably could have played at least another 6 seasons if that hadn't happened. And we got really lucky. And being a 49ers fan, I have to say, we have been blessed with linebackers most of the time, and safeties and different things. But when we had Bowman and Willis, and then we had Greenlaw and Warner. That middle of the field shut down because those guys could cover as well as, blitz, do almost anything, can read offenses just incredibly well. So yeah, we've been lucky.
Well, my
But to
thing
lose
is
them has
that
been terrible.
NFC West with the Seahawks and the Rams also playing good football. That's going to be a tough division in the playoffs, and I hope all three of them will probably get into the playoffs.
I think they do.
There's well, let's put it this way: all three have 9 wins. The Rams and the Seahawks only have 3 losses, and one of each of their losses is to the 49ers. So,
Nice.
We play the Seahawks one more time. We split the series with the Rams, and if we beat the Seahawks in the final game, there's a chance that it's weird. I read an article yesterday that said the San Francisco 49ers are closer to being the number 1 seed in the West than they are to not making the playoffs.
They are, yeah.
And even though as of today, they're the 7th seed, no matter what after the games are played on Monday, they're going to be the 6th seed. It doesn't matter how it lines up. They automatically jump up a seed.
Right.
Just because of the way everything will wrap up. So that's an interesting thing to look at. I mean, we've got in the NFC, everybody that's in the playoffs right now legitimately is going to have 10 wins. And it's been that way.
It's wild.
That's why I was saying the other day, I really don't know who my Super Bowl favorite is, because on the NFC side, anybody could make it out of there. I really don't know. The AFC side is so cutthroat, but these young teams are still unproven. So I have no idea.
It's going to be interesting because one of the things I want to see in the AFC, I think there's still one more game between Buffalo and New England. I think New England's a false front right now. You've kind of seen that a little bit with Indianapolis as they started to play better teams. You guys know the NFL, as they do their scheduling, the worst teams get to play the worst teams from the year before. So you always have a couple of teams that are going to stand out. And we're going to have some big games coming up. 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now is the 49ers Bears game. And nobody thought the Bears would be where they're at. But remember, they've also gotten a few lucky bounces, a few, things that have given them confidence in what they've gotten. And you could look at other teams. Let's look at the Raiders. I mean, how many games have you guys lost by 1 score?
Well, I'm a Falcons fan, but yes, they've lost.
I'm just looking at your Raiders.
No, I know. This has been here since before me. Trust me.
But the Falcons, same thing with the Falcons. The Falcons' problem has been that they can't close out games.
No.
Yeah. And it's like the teams like the
we don't have the
Patriots, like
coach.
you said, the Patriots were blessed with a great season with the schedule. Lions had the opposite. And, there's always going to be those secret teams like Carolina that no one was talking about that have beaten some solid teams. I mean, beating the Rams last week, no one had them circled to beat that game.
No, that was watching all the Rams fans online. They were talking about how they're going to destroy
I
them.
love how everybody, though, on the internet is running with this Carolina. It's a good football team. Like this entire meme that Carolina might actually be a good football team.
They've bbeen a good team all year. Their problem is they're just so young.
Yeah.
And
they're inconsistent.
And for them is things like because let's put one thing, they're playing everybody in the NFC West this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people slated that as 4 losses, and I think that they're
especially with
2-1 right now.
Yeah,
I think they beat Arizona and I don't think they've played Seattle yet.
No,
but we beat them. And I'm talking to the 49ers, not me. I mean, I was out there on the field just,
No, you could say we. I am all for people say, if you're a fan of a team, you could say we, you're part of it. You put in your hard-earned money into that franchise.
I've put in a lot of hard-earned money.
Yeah.
But
damn Dolphins.
It's a thing. Well, the Dolphins are starting to play better. I honestly think that one of the Dolphins' problems is they sank too much into Tyreek Hill and Tua.
Yeah.
I've thought that Tua was okay. And I've never thought he was franchise, but that's just me.
Yeah, he just fits with McDaniel.
He's a good, accurate quarterback.
Well, when he can stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem is that you get these guys. We all just watched Lamar Jackson look like a nobody quarterback last weekend.
Right.
And all of the fans from Baltimore they turned on their 2-time MVP in 1 week. I mean, quarterbacks have bad games,
Mhm.
and it's just it is what it is. But sometimes these guys need to learn to slide, protect yourself. Tua especially. I mean, how many concussions has that guy had because he doesn't slide?
Jackson Dart is swiftly catching up to him if he keeps playing the way he's playing. But that is what it is. There's
Well,
just young players that like
that's
to play football.
he like that big hit he got on him is the Patrick Mahomes problem, right?
Yep.
Where I've it's pissed me off. But when these quarterbacks fake going out of bounds and then run for 7-8 more yards because the guy can't hit them, no, you got to tattoo that guy.
That's why
And
I'm completely okay with Ellis's hit. I was like, he
that was
wasn't
such a
fully
clean
out of
hit.
bounds. He could totally still be in and run for 5 more yards, like you said.
Well, if you watch it from inside the field, like when they showed it from inside the field, he wasn't angled to go out of bounds. He was just on the sideline. And that's the that's the Patrick Mahomes thing where he fakes like he's going out of bounds. The guys pull up,
right?
Because that guy gets every penalty in the book,
right?
Except for this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
I know, and hopefully they don't make the playoffs because of it. You never know. They can't win a game on the road.
As a 49ers fan, if we get lucky enough and make it into to the Super Bowl, and if we didn't have to play the Chiefs, I would be so happy.
I mean, again, that's what I keep trying to figure out is what this is going to look like without them in the playoffs. But we'll figure that out here in a couple of weeks.
Look at Buffalo hasn't even been playing that well.
That's true. It could be anybody. Miami could even sneak in, if anything. You never know.
I will
There's
say
a 1% chance.
Miami, you guys have the best colors. I love the Miami colors.
Well, awesome. It only takes 2 months before the defense starts waking up. So I think we're going to win out, but we're going to need some help. But we appreciate you coming in, and feel free to jump back in before Christmas, and we'll continue to pump it up.
I appreciate it.
And then one more time, when was the last day for the store?
The 28th.
28th. So go out to KRRJ, especially if you're doing some late Christmas shopping. There will be plenty of stocking stuffers and just really cool memorabilia and collectibles for your kids. Trust me, you'll find exactly what your son or daughter has been looking for. Awesome. I promise. Let's go to break real quick. We got our 559 fighter on the other side. This is the early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk.
Can you guys hear me?
Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 AM. Big thanks to our guy Jim Gillis from KRRJ for joining us. Go out there for his closing sale. Trust me, you want to go. There's plenty to check out. There's plenty to find for your stocking stuffers and for your young kids in collectible areas. But we got to talk 559 fights because once again, 559 fight 119 on the 13th of December, live from the Visalia Convention Center. And we got one of the champions with us. That'd be for our guy Francisco. Can you hear us, my friend?
Yes, sir. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you're a fantastic.
All right, cool.
Hear you.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, we had your opponent on yesterday, Kyle. He called you a very dangerous fighter. So before I get your background on you, I want to know how this fight came about. Who called who? How did this all come in? Did you kind of see him fight and say, you know what, I want a piece of that guy? And how did all this come to fruition, my friend?
Kyle Mass has been dominating for quite some time now, and he's a champ, a two-time champ. So, and I knew eventually like we would probably cross paths because we're kind of around the same weight class. How this fight came about, actually, Jeremy texted me actually on my Jeremy texted me on my birthday, actually told me he had an opponent, and then it just happened to be Kyle Mask, and so we're looking for like the best opponents, the best challenges. And Kyle Mask is a very dangerous opponent. He's well-rounded, 7-3, two-time champ, very experienced, brown belt jiu-jitsu, comes from a great school, Madera martial arts. So that's the next best guy. That's you know what I mean. So
absolutely. I mean, you come from a fantastic camp yourself. Talk up your own camp, my guy.
Oh yeah, we got Tri-City MMA. We got a bunch of great things that are happening right now. The team and the coaches, everything right now is just really falling into
place.
Everything's falling into place. We have Coach Andre, our black belt jiu-jitsu coach that he just came through. Coach Bubby, Coach Rob, Coach Dimitrik. They always working with us. Our team is everyone's very good right now, like very hungry. Everyone's in the gym, sharpening themselves, sharpening us. We're sharpening each other. You guys saw Sid in the August fight, Isidro, I'm sorry. And so I've been working with him. Cheetos is starting to come back, and then Israel, Nate. You guys will see Nate later in the 559 scene, probably early next year. So everyone, we have great team right now. We have great partners, getting a lot of great work, especially out there too with Coach Mike and Avenel, sharpening my boxing, Coach Dimitri sharpening my boxing. So the team is like going like strong right now. Everything's going good. We have a lot of coaches, a lot of teammates, a lot of looks, and so it's very great. It's a blessing to be a part of Tri-City, and it's exciting.
Absolutely. Talk about your background, your 5-1 record right now. You're a champion in your own right. Obviously, you're working out with Tri-City, like you said. But where did all this start for you? When did it really click that you wanted to beat up people for a living?
I would like from the competitive aspect, like fighting. I would say probably after like my first fight, I liked it. I like the feeling. I can't really even compare it to anything else. It's just something that it's a unique thing, a beautiful thing when you're in fight camp, because in my opinion, like every fight camp kind of like sharpens you up, and I'm sorry about that. Every fight camp, and you get sharpened, you sharpen your skills up, you get way better. And then you go and compete, you showcase it, and that's a great, it's a great experience to go out there and compete against the best guys that are doing the same thing, and you guys are just becoming better. I started training like when I was 14 years old, and I knew I liked it. I like the learning the new techniques and applying it, and finally getting like what you've been working for, and trying to study and learn, and eventually master. But that comes with years, but it's nice like when you see your hard work come together and your sequences get put together, you start connecting things, and you start growing your IQ, and you start coming along, you see your hard work kind of like come into finally, and fruition, for like a better term.
Well, I know Kyle had mentioned yesterday, he with the 7-3 record. I was looking over yours at 5-1, like you mentioned, and I saw a lot of your fights are ending in TKOs. I mean, what kind of fighter do you think you are? I mean, I know there's the one that are more of the pound and ground type guys that like to keep it on the mat, and then there's the other guys that are trying to get the knockouts. What kind of fighter would you put yourself into?
I would say, our coaches do a great job at keeping us well-rounded and making sure we train everything. For personally though, I do like to, if I could get my hands going and finish the fight there, then ultimately that's what we would like. But it is a fight, so the fights they're wild. So we got to just make sure that we're a little we're versed in every situation. But I would say I do like the finishing aspect of getting TKOs, because that's kind of falls back to like what I was kind of saying, like when you start seeing your combos start coming together, and then you start seeing it and you put it together in real time. It's a nice feeling.
Absolutely. Now, with this next fight coming up, obviously you're both champions. You're both wanting to walk out with a win. I'm not going to ask you what your entire plan is going against Kyle, but he calls you a dangerous fighter. Obviously, you have great respect for him. How do you expect this fight really to pick up? Do you expect him to really try to attack some of your weaker points, or are you kind of expecting just the two of you to go out there as warriors and just say, let's go pound the floor and see who comes out on top?
No, I expect a chess match. I expect a chess match, and he's going to try to get to his strengths, and just as I'm going to try to get to my strengths, and then I do have Kyle he has a lot of different tools that he could use. Like he does switch stance, so that's going to be interesting to see, and he has a high level grappling, so we'll see. We'll see in the moment. Whatever look we get, and then we kind of go off that. We don't want to force nothing.
Talk about that a little bit. How do you really prepare for a fighter that can go to both an orthodox and I don't want to call it generic, but a normal stance per se? Like, you know what I mean? Like how do you really prepare for somebody that can be ambidextrous like that?
That kind of falls back to like Tri-City, we have great partners, great looks, great teammates, and some of my teammates are lefties, and my teammate Enoch McCotro has fought a couple southpaws in his professional career, so we do have little things that we do to get a certain look on that, and then my coaches kind of just put the game plan together and we follow it. But it is tricky though. Yeah, it is tricky for sure, because as a right hand, the thing is, like, the fighters that are everyone's right-handed usually, like a lot of people that you run across are all right-handed. So like when people start switching left hands, like especially true lefties too, like they're always getting looks against right-handed opponents, and it's not that very common that you see someone that's always like switching southpaw or you know what I mean, like lefty. So but actually we're blessed and fortunate. Nate, actually you guys will see Nate later. He's a lefty, and he's been a big part of my camp, Nate Gonzalez. So Andrew Rios too, he's a lefty, like he's like a heavyweight lefty too. So yeah, we have good looks, we have good teammates, we've been getting good sessions, good scenarios, and hopefully
that's awesome that you're able to train with somebody that is on the other side. Lefties are always weird for me, and we always kind of talk about that with fighters. My last question is, and I'll tell you guys again, this fight, 559 Fights 119, is scheduled for next Saturday at the Visalia Convention Center. Tickets are on sale now, but they will sell out like usual, so get on 559fights.com. But my last question, we ask a lot of these the fighters over here, but you said you knew around the age 14. Is there any fighter that you watched growing up that you knew after you saw him, like, I want to be like that, or I want to do this in my professional job?
Yeah, Robbie Lawler, man. Robbie Lawler, especially when he fought Rory McDonald, that was probably the fight that was like, Oh shoot! Like
I don't hear a lot of people say Robbie Lawler, dude. That's
Yeah,
a
that's
good
perfect.
one. That's a different fighter, man. That's awesome.
yeah, he's like, man. So yeah, he's that fight. So you know that fight, like he put on a war, and both of them actually, Rory and Robbie. And I was like, man, that's something that like you have to respect, and hopefully like one day we could work our way up there to kind of be like be something like that.
Level.
Like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. No, honestly, and personally, I think Robbie was brought out by a lot of his best rivals and stuff. Personally, for me, watching UFC, what got me into it was Chuck and Tito. Chuck and Tito, the John between those two, the rivalry between those two. And Robbie had a bunch of those types of fights too. So
And see, I'm a little older. I always go back to the Ken Shamrock, Dan
Yes.
Severn, the older guys.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I haven't heard that one.
Well, Shamrock was my first introduction, being a WWE fan first,
Oh,
obviously.
see,
But
I watched UFC before
it was a
all of
little
that.
bit of a backwards feel to it, but it is what it is. Francisco, thank you so much for your time, my friend. Once again, 559 Fights 119. Good luck to you. And I can't wait to talk to, well, both you and Kyle afterwards. And can't wait to see both of you take each other on. But good luck, because whoever comes out on top, in my opinion, is going to be the champ to
Is a
talk
champ.
about. That's what I got to talk about, my friend. So thank you so much for your time. We will talk to you guys very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. Have a good one.
Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. Big thank you to our guy, Francisco Hurtado from 559 Fights.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to that.
That's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a very good fight.
And we do have some texts we got to get to
let's run
before
all
the
this
end of this
down.
show. The first one says, feels great to finally hear the media talking about firing John Harbaugh. I've been saying this for years, and my friend said I was nuts.
And then, now, don't get me wrong. I didn't think you should have fired John Harbaugh until this year. I'm not going to sit here and say I've been on this train for very long.
I mean, with the roster that they have, they should.
No, that's why I feel like we're at that point.
And the next one said, send Tomlin to Miami, and Rooney should sign Gruden, and can only wish.
Honestly, if there is one team that would bring John Gruden back to football, it'd be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I would take Tomlin in a hot second.
They have shown that they do not care what the NFL, or at least the rest of the NFL, thinks about coaching hires. They're going to hire the guy they like.
And put Matt McDaniel as the offensive coordinator, bring in Tomlin. Ooh, boy. I'd be a happy Dolphin fan. The next one says, let Will Howard play.
Look, man, I'm not going to have to say it. You said it your dang self. I don't have to say a dang thing.
The next text says, hey guys, who should I go with since Herbert is injured and if he plays, he'll be playing Philly on Monday night.
I wouldn't touch Herbert this week.
Jordan Love versus the Bears, Jacoby Brissett versus the Rams, or Caleb versus Green Bay.
All of those are tough choices. I like Jacoby because he's been a consistent threat, and honestly, he has been pretty much running this offense better than Kyle Murray has in the last 3 years. So if you had to pick any of those three, I would go with Jacoby, just because it's more likely that he's going to stick around that 20 to 30 point range, whereas Caleb and Jordan could have high ceilings.
Or hit and miss.
Yeah, so I would go with Jacoby.
With Chicago, some games they just rely on the running game. Jordan Love has been so hot and then cold and then cold and then hot. I think Jacoby is probably your best bet. Even if they're losing, Jacoby is good to throw 30, 40 passes a game.
I've said it once, I'll say it again, man. All they have to do with Jordan is just let him play football. They're trying to, they're micromanaging everything he's doing. I can see it. Just let him play football. He's going to throw an interception. Get over it. It happens. It's an NFL quarterback. He's going to throw a couple bad ones. I do not nearly have enough time to get through the top 30 wrestlers under the age of 30.
Let's get into it tomorrow, because I definitely want to see how.
Yes.
I think I probably know maybe 3.
However, Sparky does have the top things that all fans must.
Yes, they must accept after
Thank you.
13 weeks of football. And a big shout out to my boy Mike out in Florida with Pro Football. And he says Saquon is a victim of the Madden curse.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
If that's what you want to blame it on.
Yeah, we could blame it on the Madden curse. Let's just say that. Let's blame the Madden curse this year, but I still say it's the offensive line not being hungry. And I don't mean like they're not good anymore. They're just not playing with the same hunger that they had last year. You have to take a year off to really realize losing sucks, and you don't want to be back in that camp. So I agree with that.
The next one says Kansas City will not make their 4th straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, well, they're not going to make the playoffs, so that's obvious.
You can't get there without it.
Exactly.
The next one says Drake May will win the NFL MVP this season.
As much as I want to don it on Matt Stafford, this is a growing thought around the league, him being the most accurate quarterback, and I believe he leads the league in yardage right now as well, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that Drake May wins in his second year.
I'm going with Stafford, man. I hope I'm right, because I don't want to see Drake May with the MVP.
Well.
But the next one says the Seahawks have restored their dominant defense.
Yeah. Yep. That was the plan when they hired the man. And honestly, McDonald has done exactly that. He's brought the Legion of Boom back. And to be honest, they may be better than they were with Sherman.
Yeah, that defense. I mean, thank you, because they put me 39 points last week. But the next one, Jackson Dart should wear a Guardian cap.
Yes, he should. Be the first quarterback to wear one, please. Come on.
Tua
that would
should
be
too.
Amazing. God.
A-Chain will be a top 5 fantasy pickup next season.
Yes, but unfortunately, I think that doesn't bode well for him because usually when we have those running backs go from maybe 15 to top 5, they don't recur that in the next year.
I will say I love we call him A-Train in our house, and we do the whole choo-choo every time he gets a big run, and I'm a big fan of A-Chain, and I am really happy that he's not just running by himself. He's got Ollie Gordon back there. He's got Jalen Wright that have been helpful when he needs a day or a couple drives off. But the guy is lightning, man. He is so damn fast. And the next two, or the last one, I mean, Mike Tomlin will be the next New York Giants head coach.
Oh,
I didn't even think about that.
ew.
And ew,
I don't know. Well,
yuck.
let me ponder on this. Let this one marinate. I need to really envision what that would look like and what he could do with Scatabo. And
I mean, that defense would.
It really would.
Would
And if
grow
he
with
got
him.
an offensive coordinator in there that was actually competent, sorry there, Smith, but you could do it. I guess you could do it. That team, and you know what? No, now the more I'm thinking, and this is why I need to let it marinate, because the big problem with the Giants, at least from around the league right now, is just accountability and
Leadership.
not
Yep.
really having a leader. And who better to be that leader than Mike Tomlin? Oh my God, no.
It almost makes too much sense.
Again, let me marinate on it. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. Hopefully you guys will join us 7 to 9 a.m.
We'll have
as we
Bolt
always
Brady.
are. Yes, Bolt Brady will make his return. One of the final weeks we'll be talking to Bolt Brady, if I'm not mistaken. I think we have, 3 more weeks with the man? So if you haven't made money on him yet, you're missing out. I'm telling you right now, I made money on him in Vegas. But we got to take a break, get out of here for the day. Here comes the amazing Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.